G'day guys, what's going on and welcome back to the channel. Today it will be my gather round tips. So I'm actually not using ESPN that much anymore, but I'll go into my tipping comp. In reality, I do have 26 tips. They just robbed me of tips here. So if you do remember, the only reason why I'm really switching apps, let's see, last round, right? I clearly tipped on my video and look. In the round before, I also clearly tipped. So that's the only reason I'm mainly switching apps. With the tipping comp, Gus Footy first, Shannon Humphrey second, should be me third, and Houstonian fourth, and all of that. You guys should know. I don't think we were going to give away anything. I was going to wait and see, but that's our tipping comp. So let's just get straight into my tips this round. But first, we have to review round 4. So obviously, we had Collingwood beating Carlton, or I guess 12. Carlton lost by 17, so 5 off. Then I got Geelong right, Gold Coast right, Brisbane right, Sydney right, GWS right. Then I got one tip wrong, which is Port Adelaide. That wasn't very good. So if you don't believe me about my 26 for the whole season, here you go. And so, yeah, that is that. Let's just get straight into my tips for round 5. We've got Adelaide taking on Geelong to start off gather round here at the Adelaide Oval. So 5:40pm AWST on the Thursday the 10th of April tonight when I'm filming this. Adelaide, they are looking really good this season. They got robbed against the Gold Coast Suns. But before that, they went 3-0 with a few smashings out of there. So Adelaide definitely looking like finals contenders. And I've got faith for them. I reckon they may be able to win the premiership. Obviously they'll have to get through Hawthorn and upper sides, but they might be able to, Adelaide, with the way they're going. Geelong, let's look at the form guide. Geelong are 8th, Adelaide are 5th. Obviously Geelong, they did win that nice game against Melbourne, but then they did lose 2 before that against St Kilda and Brisbane, I believe. So it's not really a good look for losing to St Kilda for Geelong. But St Kilda, they've been doing really good. And we'll get to that later. But Geelong, they are still arguably a premiership side. They're still arguably one of the best. But Adelaide is just going to power over them with the gather-round belief that they can get it underway and win this Thursday night game. So that's why I've got Adelaide by 15. Next up, we have Collingwood taking on the Swans here at the Adelaide Oval again for Friday night. So Collingwood, let's look at the form guide there, 6th, the Swans are 9th. The Swans last round, they absolutely thumped North. Well done to them. Then before that, the Swans did beat... The Swans did beat... I'm not 100% sure. It might have been... Alright, that's just wasting time. I don't know who the Swans bet before that. But they're 2-2, and then obviously Collingwood, they're having a decent season. They got that win against Carlton. Then round 0, of course, they lost against GWS. But they've had a decent season, the Pies, and they are looking to make it even more better, even more decent by winning this one against Sydney, who are only $2. They can win this, but I've just got Collingwood. Right, here we go. We have North taking on the Suns here at Barossa Park. So I think that might be a new stadium for gather round. And obviously, so the positions, North are 13th, and then you've got Gold Coast are looking like premiership contenders. They're 3rd. So they've got 3 wins on the trot. Obviously, they got that win against the Eagles by 87. Then they thumped Melbourne by about 60. Then they got that win by 1 point against Adelaide. North have really only played well in their first game. They were all right against the Dogs. In their second game, they were pretty good to beat Melbourne by that much. And they will be contenders to win this one. The Gold Coast, the way they're going, them, Hawthorn, and a few others are looking like premiership contenders. So I wouldn't write North Melbourne off, but I've got Gold Coast to win. Next up, we've got Carlton taking on the West Coast Eagles at 11:20am at the Adelaide Oval. Now, Carlton, obviously, 0-4. Eagles 0-4. Carlton are so bad. Like, they are honestly so trash. But the Eagles are more trash. That's the thing. If we're a very lazy side, we need to put in more effort, in my opinion. Like, most of our players don't want to be playing for us. We need to put in more effort if we want to get up the table. And this season, we've not been doing that. So, Carlton West Coast, Carlton, they are actually putting efforts in. Like, they're putting efforts in, but we aren't. So, I reckon Carlton will win this one at the Adelaide Oval. Pretty straightforward. By at least 37. Maybe more. Western Bulldogs taking on Brisbane now at Norwood. Brisbane, they are another one of the premiership contenders. They're looking like they're going to go back-to-back with second position. Dogs are having an alright season. Robbed against the Pies, and then they won the first round against North Melbourne. They just lost to Fremantle. But the Dogs are actually... They don't, no matter about all their injuries, they are still looking all right. And that's why they're going to make this a very good game. I reckon they'll lead for at least a quarter or so, the Bulldogs. They're going to compete against Brisbane, but in the last quarter, just like the Eagles played Brisbane are going to absolutely sprint away with the footy and score a few to give Brisbane the 27-point win. Melbourne Essendon. To wrap up the Saturday, I think. Yep, to wrap up the Saturday, Melbourne Essendon. Now, Essendon at the Adelaide Oval. Melbourne Essendon has been Melbourne Essendon has been a gather-round game for a while. Essendon are really looking decent this season. I'll say that. They're not looking great, but they're looking decent. So I think they had the bye last round and they beat Port Adelaide. And Thomas Edwards, former Swan Districts player, if anyone actually supports me on the YouTube channel, last year, if you watch my Swan Districts vlogs, you will see him there. But Tom Edwards has ruptured his ACL with the young forward, 24-year-old. So that is not good for the Bombers. He was a very good player in the first few games. And then Melbourne, as well as the Eagles, they have a lot of off-the-field issues. The Eagles don't. But they don't put in the effort. Like, they give up in the second quarter. And that's the thing about us sides. We need to never give up. The game's not over until the siren goes. So, Melbourne, they aren't looking great for this season, being 0-4. But I reckon Essendon are going to run away with this one over Melbourne by 20. And gather round. And Barossa Park, Richmond, Fremantle. Now, Richmond, if there was a side who's most likely looking 18th right now, it is Eagles or Richmond. Maybe Melbourne. But Eagles, the thing is, they played well against Brisbane, and the Eagles always put in random good performances. But Richmond have been not very good their past few games, obviously. Other than round one, they haven't been great. They lost by 85 to St Kilda. And then the game before, they lost by around 72 to Port Adelaide. But they held up well. They held up pretty well against the Premiers. Only ended up losing by 28. And Fremantle, obviously last round, I was streaming that game. Fremantle beat the Western Bulldogs by 19 points, I think. But Fremantle, they actually played really well against the Bulldogs, especially in that late second quarter. They just ran away and scored a few goals to give them the 42 or whatever it was, halftime lead. But they almost threw away that game in the last quarter against the Bulldogs. They were coming strong, but Murphy Reid obviously scored that dribbler to seal the deal. And Fremantle at Barossa Park, they're definitely the favourites to win this one. It's pretty straightforward against Richmond, the side that's looking the worst this season, other than the Eagles. Or everyone pretty much tipped them to get 18th at the start of the season. So I'm going to go Fremantle. They're going to win this one comfortably by 52 points. Moving on to Norwood. Oval, we have St Kilda taking on the GWS Giants. Now, this is my upset tip. St Kilda, they've won the last 3. They beat Geelong. They beat a few other sides, and in the round 1 they obviously lost. But St Kilda are actually looking really good this season. Like, they're looking decent. And I reckon they will have hope that they can win this one at Norwood. And GWS, obviously they ran over West Coast with Hogan's 9 goals. But I wouldn't write off St Kilda just yet. They can definitely win this one. And in my opinion, they will win this one. And I've got St Kilda to win the upset against the GWS Giants by 13 points. Moving on to the Adelaide Oval, the last game of Gather Round, Sunday night. Hawthorn taking on Port Adelaide. Obviously, Port Adelaide, they're 1-3. Hawthorn are 4-0. So Hawthorn are having the season of their lives so far. They haven't been 4-0 for a while, and they're looking like they are going to win the flag. Them and Brisbane, as well as Gold Coast, are looking very positive that they can win the flag. Port Adelaide, since last season they were top 4, they haven't been putting into performances that they should be, and they just aren't putting in the performances that they did last season. And if they want to beat Hawthorn, they will have to play like a top 4 side. But I don't think they will. And Hawthorn, with their young stars, will run over Port Adelaide to win the last game of Gather Round by 27 points to put them 5-0. That's all for the tips this round. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys have a good day. Like, subscribe, share to your mates if you enjoyed the video. Peace.